Muslims are often perceived to be pretty anti-American and angry and violent. And we wanted to know how early do those stereotypes start to be detected among people. Children seem to be really active in how they construct their stereotypes. So we know that it's not just that parents teach it to them directly. And so it seems as though these messages are out there and kids are really paying attention and attuned to stereotypes. One of the theories that drove our research is this idea of a common in-group identity. So that we know that we hold biases about people in our out-group, and we tend to prefer people in our in-group. If Arab Americans are perceived as outside, it's going to be hard to ever reduce prejudice towards them. So we found that overall, kids perceived the men of Arab descent to be more anti-American. So they were perceived to be not happy to be in America, not happy with their American neighbors. They were also perceived to be angrier. They also felt more fear towards the Arab Americans and less warmth towards them as well. The children in our study also perceived the Arab American children to be more likely to get into fights and to be less liked by their classmates. Women were also stereotyped negatively. They were perceived to be needing to get permission to go do things and not having many friends and less likely to have a job. But one of the important findings was that kids who perceived the Arab Americans to be real American, and when the kids themselves feel like being American is an important part of their own identity, then children didn't hold very many biases and stereotypes toward Arab Americans. And also we looked at whether kids knew anything about being Muslim, so what does it mean? And not many kids did, but when they did, they held fewer stereotypes and prejudices. Arab American Muslims are at grave risk in the US for really violent hate crimes. And the fact that we're seeing these ideas pop up in 6-year-olds, I think is particularly disturbing, and we have to be really mindful of media exposure and be really mindful of where kids are getting these messages. Kids need to have some knowledge of what it means to be Muslim. They need to recognize it's a world religion, that there's a lot of people that are Muslim, have some basic idea of what it is. The other thing that seems to make a difference is knowing someone that's either Arab American or Muslim. The more kids recognize that Arab Americans are Americans just like white Americans or black Americans or Latino Americans or Asian Americans, when they recognize that's just part of who makes up the American citizenry, that seemed to make their biases lower as well.